The book that I just finished is a legal history of emotions, where I was looking at how ordinary people in Quebec from the 1870s to about 1950 talked about their emotional injuries and how they took those injuries to court to sue the people who were responsible for the injuries. So it's people talking about and suing over their grief, their betrayal, their humiliation, those sorts of emotional injuries. And I was very interested in how people described their emotional injuries and how it got translated into legal terms. So it's kind of the stories of ordinary people translated into legal terms, and then what did the courts do with it? Legal history often deals with ideas and so on, and I wanted to bring a real historical dimension to it by getting at how ordinary people interacted with the legal system and legal ideas. And so what was really fascinating about this topic was that it allowed me to kind of dig into the archives and get at people's cases that hadn't been looked at for decades or longer. And so very often I was taking the red tape off of the case files in the archives for the first time since 1880 or 1900 or something like that, and reading about people's stories and reading their testimony, hearing their voices and so on. And so that personal connection to the past really fascinated me, to try to bring again to legal history a personal dimension that is often missing. And that really fascinates me, and it really motivates me still to go into the archives and see what else is there, because there's so much there that we haven't seen that's just waiting for discovery. Writing a scholarly work, you're kind of imagining a scholarly audience, but you hope that your audience will be broader than that. And something like this forum is a great way to introduce my work to a larger public. The main thing that I really would like historians to take from my work is the idea that emotions matter, that emotions give us something about the past that is often overlooked. Like, we tend to think that rationality, like, the primacy of reason is so important. And we tend to see it in the past, but we forget that people in the past had fears and loves and grief, just like we do today. And so what I'm hoping that the historical community gets from my work is to pay attention to that emotional or sentimental or feelings aspect of the past, which I think challenges the primacy of reason. It challenges the idea that history needs to kind of just focus on the formal and the reasonable and so on, because I think we really miss another aspect of the past. And that's what I was hoping to get at in the stories that I tell in my book, that people felt things, and it's so important to keep that in mind, like that affective or emotional aspect of the past. So kind of bringing that in as another way of approaching the past, I hope is the main contribution that I was trying to make. I don't win a lot of prizes, and so this was a great surprise and a wonderful honor. But it's particularly important for me because I'm a latecomer to Canadian history. My initial training as a graduate student was in medieval Germany, which is totally different from 19th and 20th century Quebec. And circumstances led me to law school. And as I was studying the law, becoming a lawyer, I got fascinated by by Quebec law, but also by the history of Quebec law. And that got me into the history of Quebec. And so now I'm fascinated and happy as a historian of Quebec law. And what this really means is that an outsider like me is saying something that people are interested in hearing. So this recognition is a tremendous honor, and it's very gratifying to know that people are interested in what this outsider is saying about the history of Canada's and Quebec's past.